Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits, and today is Sunday, November 8th, 2015. This is episode 230. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more week, and if you're new, hopefully you enjoyed today's show and you'll come back in the future. As you can see, I am riding solo this week. Callie texted me early this morning, which is still relatively early, to tell me that she unfortunately couldn't make it today to record due to meetings that had to take place with her leadership training that she's going to. So I know she was in class for that leadership training all day yesterday, and she must have had to schedule work meetings with some of her group members for today. So we'll give her a pass for this week, and since it's so early in the morning, I figured why not record, get this done, get it out of the way, get it posted for you guys so you could watch, and then I could have the day to grocery shop and do chores, dye yarn. So you get me throwing on the geology shawl and my hoodie and still have my glasses on. Bear with me. You're going to get the reflection. It's alright though. So I just have a few things to show you. I am going to do a quick magazine review this week and show you some items that have been added to the shop for Leading Men Fiber Arts. So let's do a quick week in review. I did teach all week. It was a long week. It was a tiresome week. I had one day in particular that I just had some issues with some classroom management. No matter how hard you try, as a teacher, when you have issues in the classroom, and I can teach in a rather, I don't want to say rough neighborhood, but where there can be more issues of classroom management than many other schools. And I pride myself on my classroom management. I think I have really good classroom management skills. However, there are days that, you're just trying everything to keep them in the classroom because you have a handful of kids in one class that want to be sent out so that they don't have to sit through that class. And you're trying anything to keep them in because they want to leave. And then in the end they're just causing disruptions for everyone else in the class. That becomes really tiresome. And there was one day this week that it hit me pretty hard, and I was like, I've been doing this for 7 years now, and that's not that long, but it is eating away at me. And every time I bounce back from it, there's just that little chip that's taken away from my passion and enjoyment in teaching that I can't gain back when I have those bad days. So I'm just hoping that it doesn't chip away faster than it has been, because it gets harder and harder to bounce back from it. So needless to say, I did bounce back from it. So yeah, it was just a long week, but it's what it is. I'll take it. We've got Thanksgiving coming up in a couple of weeks, and then before you know it, we'll have Christmas break, and it'll be a much-needed 2-week break. So that's pretty much that. Not really anything exciting. Didn't really go anywhere or do anything. Went and had dinner at my mom's on Thursday night. It was okay. And then yesterday I had an eye doctor's appointment, so I got a new pair of glasses and sunglasses, and I'm going to be getting some new contacts, but I have to go back in because they gave me a new brand of contacts, so they need to see me next week to see how they're fitting. But I had to get my eyes dilated. I have to do that once a year, and that's always so much fun. But actually yesterday wasn't that bad. And I made Andy take me out to lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings afterwards, so that was good. Alright, so I think that's enough chit-chat. Let's get to the knitting. We're going to keep this rather streamlined today. So what's taking a bow this week? I have absolutely nothing. I have rather large items on the needles right now, so no finished objects for me, and probably not next week either. So what's performing this week? The first thing is the Portage sweater by Melissa Shashwari. I'm using Elizabeth Lebold Silky Wool in color number 65, which is spruce. Sizes 5, 6, and 7 needles, and this is housed in my Awesome Bags by Awesome Granny bag that she sent for review. It's a great sweater bag. It fits my skein I'm working on plus the sweater, and there's still room in there. So as I add more skeins onto the sweater, it will continue to grow. So Not as much progress this week because it's only been less than a week since I've seen you last. But I did move my Dickie-Doos. So you can see from there above I'm still working on, sorry about the sun. It's early in the morning. It's about 8:30 in the morning. So, but I'm working on the ribbing at the bottom portion. I have to go to 5 inches and I'm currently just shy of 4. So another inch or so and then I'll bind off for the body that I've been working on for forever, and I can pick up for the collar, which then also includes, you do the pockets down at the bottom within that collar. So that'll be fun construction. So just slowly but surely working on that. The second thing I'm working on is Polyphony by Sarah Berghardt Abram. And I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Show Stealer in the Copper Cloud, Eternal Kiss, and Nude Scene colorways. And this currently does not have a needle in it because I finished the second color, which is the 3 color sides. So you can see here, it's got a little bit of a ruffle, but once I block it out, this will block out. I also did a stretchy bind off. I did the suspended bind off, which is what I pretty much do for anything anymore, and sometimes it does give me a little bit of a wave in the bind off, but once you block it out, it should block out nice and neat. So the Copper Cloud Lace Center, you got the 3 sides and Eternal Kiss, and then I'm going to be putting the Nude Scene here along the top. So it's going to be beautiful. And Sarah came out with a new pattern this week, and it's utterly gorgeous. And I did not pull it up on the iPad. Let me see if I can pull it up for you so you can check out her pattern. Let's see if I can add a page, pull up Ravelry. And she gifted it to me. It showcases Twisted Fiber Art and one of their gradients. And it's a beautiful shawl. And she was like, you know, you could use one of your new Twisted Fiber Arts gradients or one of ours that we do, which I might do as a shop sample. It's called Melvina, and it calls for Twisted Fiber Arts Tasty Evolution, about 480 to 500 yards of a fingering weight. And here is the beautiful shawl, Melvina. Right. There we go. So you can see the beautiful gradient there, and Sarah's gorgeous self. It is utterly gorgeous. It's like a stole. Here it is all strewn out, which is kind of, she's been doing this shape lately, and it's utterly gorgeous. Well, maybe it doesn't want to focus today. There we go. So thank you so much, Sarah. This has been added to my queue. Alright, the third thing I'm working on is Mix It Up by Jana Huck. I'm doing this as a commission knit for a local alpaca farm, and I'm using 2 skeins of their fingering weight that's been mill spun. One's a natural white, the second one is been dyed up by us in our blue steel colorway. And I am in the middle of the row, so I can't show you much, and I don't feel like undoing the stopper, but you can see here the ends of Never Ending Doom, and I just got about maybe 8 rows done this week. I have decided that I am not going to do the extended size on this, and once this is done I have another project lined up for them, but unfortunately I think I've made the decision that I need to cease the commission knitting for them. It just doesn't make sense that I am commission knitting for them, but yet I still have to farm out our sample knitting because I can't get as much sample knitting done out of our yarn because I'm doing so many other things. And don't get me wrong, I want to be still knitting from my stash, but I also want to be doing more of my sample knitting so that I can actually tell people about the experience and things that I learned or whatnot. So I want to try to not farm out as much sample knitting, so I'm going to, when I give this to the local alpaca farm, I'm going to have to tell them, unfortunately, that you know, at this time I've got to cease the commission knitting for them. It just doesn't make sense. As much as it's fun, it doesn't make sense for me to continue to do that. So, plus the obligationness of it is just starting to get to me a little bit. Alright, the fourth thing I'm working on are the bend over backwards socks. As I said last week, I am using one of our Improv sock blanks, and I have already finished one and blocked it. I showed that to you last week. Here's the sock blank, what's left of it, and in the bend over backwards colorway. So I'm currently knitting on the second one, and I'm going to leave this one unblocked as a shop sample. And doing it as a shorty, so gotta find my lighting today. Sorry, I'm not used to ever recording this early. So here is the first sock, and I've just started the heel flap. You can see that little bit down there. So I work on this while I'm rescanning, and I get a row or so done when I rescan a skein. So that's that. Nothing special. On 2 circs, size 1.5. Needles, I think I did 64 stitches since I knew these were going to be smaller socks and not actually for me or anything. So that's that. And that's living in my Silvershed USA bag that she did for the Dramatic Knits. She had a couple of these in her shop, but I think she's ceased doing these ones for the time being. The last thing I'm going to show you is my Granny Square blanket. I called it a Granny Smith blanket. I called it a Granny Square. I called it everything under the sun last week. So I told you I'm doing 2, one out of scraps of anywhere from DK to Aran weights, maybe even bulky, and another one out of scraps from fingering and sport weight. I have not really worked on the fingering weight one at all. So here is, again, sorry about the lighting. Here is the worsted weight one, and as you can see, I've added a 4th color. This one is the Copper Cloud colorway in our DK Dramaturg base, which is 100% superwash merino. So it's growing. It's getting a while to go around, and I just randomly grab a scrap and start going. So I did a little bit on that. Nothing really to write home about on that. So that's that, and those are all my works in progress this week. So, all right. What's in rehearsal? Just getting things off those needles. I seem to get stuck in large project land and then they all cease at the same time. So we'll see if that happens again. Let's move into behind the scenes. My spinning. I did finish some spinning. I finished a Riot of Color, 85% superwash BFL, 15% nylon in the Grello colorway, and I ended up getting 130 yards of a 2-ply, I'd say bulky weight, anywhere from worsted to bulky. It was only 3.5 ounces rather than 4, so, but here it is, which I'm really happy with it, and so, I want to show it up close without getting it in the sun. So this will actually be up in the shop in our next update, which will either be tonight or Monday night. So that's that. I like how it came out. So then I picked up my next commission spin, and I was like, I'm liking the bulky to worsted spinning. I think I'm going to go there from now on. And then, of course, you know, the fiber dictates what it wants to be. So the next thing that I picked up for commission spinning was Fiber Nymph Dye Works. And this is her 100% Falkland top in the Kaleidoscope colorway. This was the SSK Super Summer Knit Together 2012 exclusive colorway for SSK. And here's the second 2 ounces. So it's greens and purples and blues. And I've started spinning the first 2 ounces. And of course, like I said, the fiber dictates what it wants to be, and it wants to be super fine. So this one's going to be thin, especially compared to what I've been spinning. It's, you know, to me it's like frog hair thin from the past couple of skeins I've been doing, but, you know, we'll see. It should be a nice fingering to light fingering weight. Once it's been plied up, it'll be a 2-ply fractal spun again. So I'll let you know. It'll take a little bit longer, but I'll let you know how it goes next week. All right, round of applause. Or I'm sorry, in the spotlight. Let's do in the spotlight. Let's talk about what I'm watching and reading. I did catch up on American Horror Story Hotel last night. I'm along for the ride. Again, it's not my favorite season, I don't think, but I'm going along for the ride, and we'll see where it goes. We did get caught up on the Great British Baking Show. The season finale will be tonight, so we're down to the last 3 bakers. And enjoying that. We enjoyed last week, which was French week, so they had to do a bunch of different things and make an opera cake at the end. We did not know what an opera cake was, so that was interesting to see. We did. Oh, we already talked about watching The Walking Dead, so we'll watch the next episode tonight. So that's that. What am I reading? I did finish The Martian by Andy Weir. I enjoyed it. I felt like it wrapped up really quick. It was like climax, and the denouement, or the the falling action and resolution, were really, 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 really quick at the end, which was fine. It's kind of like you're going along for the ride, and I think you know that going into the book, so you don't need all this wrap up. But I'll be interested to see the differences in the movie. I've heard several people talking about it on podcasts, the differences. I know I was listening to the Knitting Rose podcast, which is an audio podcast with Lise of Knitting Rose Yarns and her husband, and they were talking about how much they like the movie, but there are differences. So we'll see once I watch the movie what I think of that. I'm currently reading in my classroom The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. Again, that's about alien invasion. I'm enjoying that. I'm getting a little further each week into it, so I'll let you know probably more once I get to the end of that. I'm also listening to The Night Spider by John Lutz. I'm still kind of in the setting up and getting to know a little bit more about the serial killer and the thought processes behind that. I told you a little bit more about what his MO is last week. And I'm also listening to Woman with a Gun. I started that this week after finishing The Martian. I got that through our school's library 3M app, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's interesting. I don't really know what happened. There's a lot of backstory, but basically the premise is a photographer is walking along the beach at about 2 a.m. after she gets off of her bartending job, and she sees a woman in a wedding dress holding an antique pistol behind her back, staring out into the ocean. She then, walks up to her, convinces her to hand over the gun. The woman has no idea where she's at or what's happened. She's been hit over the head. They walk her back into her house, which is, of course, a very nice, fancy, rich mansion, and they find her husband of one day, they were just married that evening, dead and shot in his den. And so it's kind of figuring that out, but also a lot of backstories and intertwinings of some of the people involved. So it's intriguing. So, and I don't know if I told you, that's by Philip Margolin, and I think that came out relatively recently, either in the last year or two. So, enjoying listening to that. I'll let you know more as I get to that. That's my to and from work listening. Of course, then, I was complaining about having to spend so much money through Audible, but the next day after I downloaded Woman with a Gun, Audible was having a sale, which I think is over now, but it was kind of rare gems book sale. So they're like, look at these rare gems that are super cheap, but they're really good, but they're super cheap because not a lot of people are buying them. So they had them for $3.95, and I was like, well, I need to stack up on some books. So I just added about 5 of them to my cart. I figured 5 books for $20 was not that bad, so it's cheaper than buying the additional 3 credits through Audible. So at least I have a little bit of a backlog to be able to work through in my Audible library. So if you're on Audible, make sure you're checking those emails, because occasionally, they do the sales and things like that. I got this nice big thermos cup from Walmart. I have no idea why it leaks from the bottom, because it's not the coffee inside. It's like water from the dishwasher, and I have no idea where it leaks from on the bottom. But it does. Anyway, perturbs me just a bit. Alright, so, I need to write that down. That should be the show title. What else? Okay, I have a quick magazine review for you. I've been sitting on this since Stitches Midwest, but this is the Chicago Knits Summer Fall 2015, the Light and Airy edition. And I don't have a whole lot to talk about with this particular edition. Again, I feel like it's important that we, if you're an Illinois native or around the Chicagoland area, I think it's important to kind of support this initiative, and through supporting it, we can only hope that it'll grow and get a little bit better each time, which will be awesome. I know that there may be another pattern coming out in the relative newer edition, soon-to-be edition, featuring Leading Men Fiber Arts. But again, there's a lot of things I've talked about in here that I really like about the magazine. Upcoming events, new yarns, and things like that. They showcase one of the kits through a grinning... so I'm trying to stay back so I can avoid the crossover of the light coming in the window. A grinning gargoyle kit, different cool tools and things like that. There was an article about dyeing in your kitchen I thought was really interesting, with some photo tutorials. And then they did their featured store that they do in every issue. This one was Elgin Knitworks. And then there were some patterns that I thought were somewhat interesting. This one was one that Elgin Knitworks supplied. This is the Cowler, and it is very, very, very simple. It calls for 270 yards of a chunky weight. And I really like the way they styled it with the jewel clasp, J-U-L. You can probably find them at your local yarn store. I know a lot of them are carrying the jewel closures now. But it's very, very, very simple. And then they have the Reverse Shawl by Alexis de Gregorio. This calls for one skein of Cascade Yarns Forest Hills, about 785 yards. Not sure if that's a... Doesn't look like a lace weight, so I'm not sure. But it's got a nice schematic here with large open charts, but you can see the schematic of the shawl. So probably not necessarily, though this is kind of that shape, wearing it as a kerchief. But it does call from casting on from the bottom, and then you work your way up and you do short rows to shape the top. So, not sure if I'll ever get around to knitting that, but I thought it was interesting. Simple-ish lace, so if you're newer to lace, that might be a good one for you. Now, I actually thought this was really nice. I thought the photography was really well done on this one picture. Unfortunately, that's the only picture that you get. Sometimes they give multiple pictures, but most of the time you get one shot, which is a little disappointing, but I understand, you're paying for the ink, you're paying for the printing. But I do wish that they would have a few more pictures. Hey, there's Corn Dog. I don't know if you saw him or not. Again, when I put the video, when I compress it, it decreases the overall size of the video. So, Corn Dog Butt. This is called the TU Top by Francois Dene. And I kind of liked it. You would, of course, have to wear something, some kind of tank or cami underneath it, because you've got the lace in the front. And it's got a little bit of bobbles, but I thought it was nicely done, pictured. I liked the color. I liked the styling of it. So, and then, again, there were some misses for me. The Pink Summer Fling, I think this might be the same designer that did the one that I was not so such a fan of last time, but because it's the same model, I think, but I'm just kind of like, no, that neckline at the top and then the ribbon across. Most people do not want to accentuate their midsection like that, let alone, what kind of undergarment do you need to wear to, suffice this outfit? Not to mention, I'd really like to know what the back looks like. They did a full page shot on that. They did an up close of the ribbon, but they don't show you what the back looks like. And with a neckline like that, I think I'd like to know how far down, not that I'm going to wear it, but how far down the back goes. The last one I cared for, or I thought was, I didn't really care for it. I don't watch Doctor Who, but I thought a lot of you might be interested in. These are the TARDIS Mitts by Kim Richardson. She is the editor-in-chief of Chicago Knits. So I thought that was really interesting. It's got a full page chart on the other side to do this. So I thought that was cool. Out of Caron Simply Soft, so you can whip those up for something cheap for a holiday gift. And then again, the thing that I really loved is a map of local yarn stores to the Chicago area, along with, of course, who they are. So, again, that's a quick review, but that is Chicago Knits Summer Fall 2015, Light and Airy. So check them out. You can check them out at chicagonitsmag.com, and I will link to them in our show notes, which can be found at dramaticknits.com. So thank you again, Kim, for donating those to me. And so let's move on into a round of applause. I was contacted by Susan Leviton, who is Painter Mom on Ravelry, and she owns A Riot of Color, which I'm just finished spinning her fiber. And we've done a lot of shows together, especially this last year. And she came out with her first pattern on Ravelry, and that pattern is called My Head's in a Whirl. And it calls for 2 colors of worsted weight, about half a skein of each. Now, I'm hoping she'll maybe put up some better pictures once she gets them more modeled, maybe on a foam head or things like that, so you can kind of see the directionality of the color. But this is her first pattern she's published on Ravelry. Let's see if the new picture will pop up. Oh, that's a little blurry. Let's try this one. So basically you've got the 2 colors that are swirling around the head, and you kind of have this interesting, I don't know if it's cabled or whatnot on the brim. So you can definitely check it out. My Head's in a Whirl by Susan Leviton, and she is offering 2 copies for you guys. So I'm going to put up a thread. All you have to do is say, ooh, pick me, or maybe tell me what 2 colors you would like, just general colors, what 2 colors you'd put together, or, if you want to say what 2 colors of A Riot of Color you'd put together, or what 2 colors of Leading Men Fiber Arts. But all you got to do is say, ooh, pick me. She's offering 2 copies to our viewers, so I will open a thread and I'll pick for winners next Sunday when we record. I'll use a random number generator. You must be a member of the group. Only 1 entry per person, please. But if you just can't wait and you would like to get a copy of that hat, you can get $2 off with the coupon code. It is a $5 pattern, so you can get it for $3 off, and you can use the coupon code FIRST PATTERN, no space, all caps, first pattern, and that'll get you $2 off, I believe, through the end of November. So don't quote me on that, but I believe through November 30th. So thank you again, Susan, for giving our viewers 2 copies of your new pattern. So, all right, the last thing I need to talk about in a round of applause is our November Race to the Finished Object contest. We encourage you to enter anything you finish in the month of November to our Race to the Finished Object contest. It does not need to be started in November, but it does need to be finished within the month of November. You must be a member of the group. You post a finished object picture of everything, one picture per finished object. You get 1 entry per post, and that'll get you entered for our monthly drawings. Our first prize this month, I showed last week, is a shawl pin from Artfully Wrapped on Etsy. And the second is a pattern from our featured designer, who is Megan Sanders. So get those finished objects in there and show us what you're working on or what you finish. All right, other than that, I think I'm going to move into center stage and talk about all things Leading Men Fiber Arts. So if you're not interested in what's been added to the shop this week, I will see you next week with, hopefully, Callie will be joining me. But I'm going to move into center stage. So first of all, let me just say that the November colorway of the month, Turkey Run, the pre-orders will be ending today, so tomorrow morning I will be taking those pre-orders down. So if you don't see this today, definitely check the shop. You can always put in a custom order for it. There may be some extra skeins that we have dyed up that will be going into the shop once I close pre-orders tomorrow. But yeah, so that was a good pre-order. I like the colorway. We already accidentally came up with December, so I'm excited for that. And I had named it one thing, and then Callie and Andy actually had a really good conversation and inspiration for a new colorway. So we've modified the colorway name for December. So I'll be excited to show you that towards the end of this month, what our December colorway will be. So let me just, I've got dogs all over the place underneath me. Alright, so first off, let me show you some sock blanks that I've updated this week. Again, these are 463 yards of 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. They are the same base as our Showstopper base. They are single knit, and this one is called Dead Ringer. So that'll be fun to knit up. And I think I did one other one I updated. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I got two more. This one is Cup of Joe. So this one's mostly these lighters and darker pinks with these speckles of blue and kind of a greenish chartreuse colorway through them. Cup of Joe. And then the last one, new one this week, is called Buy a Lemon, like buying a car that doesn't work. And this one's kind of fun, this hot pink with this kind of ghosty grunginess going through it, and then these hops of yellow and fuchsia and aqua through them. Again, I've got this fun lighting coming in through the shades on the other side. So, but those are the three new sock blanks that have been added this week. I still have a few more that I still need to update this week, and then maybe I'll get on dyeing some more. We've got some undyed ones down in stock. All right, let's just start off and pulling from the top. Box office worsted weight, 100% superwash merino, 218 yards. We've got Purple Rain. I think there's 4 skeins of this up in the shop, so a decent amount. On Show Stealer, our MCN fingering weight, 435 yards. We've got Metamorphosis. Dramaturg, our DK weight, 250 yards. 100% superwash merino. We've got Poison Apple. Soliloquy, this is 150 grams, so about a skein and a half of 100% superwash BFL. And this is the Haunted Wood, 650 yards. 657, I'm sorry. So this is like a brownie purple. That's really, a lot of people really like this at shows this show season. On Showcase, this is 100% superwash merino, 490 yards of fingering weight. This is Eternal Kiss. Showcase, we have Venetian Sunset Light. So this is not our typical Venetian Sunset. The dyes were actually put in the wrong order, but it's similar, but it's more vibrant than muted. So we called it the Light. There's 2 of these. Never to be repeated again. Soliloquy again, we've got Prom Queen. Show Stealer, we've got Raspberry Parfait. This is the same color that Callie's doing her Hitofude out of. Spotlight, this is 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon. It's a high twist. It's great for socks. 400 yards of a fingering weight. We've got Saffron. So you can see that high twist in the yarn. Showstopper, this is the 75-25 superwash merino nylon. We've got Glacial. Show Stealer, we've got Nude Scene. This is great to pair with different colors. That's what I'm going to be adding into my polyphony shawl. Sorry, I pulled up a skein. I realized we sold it last night, so there's really no point in showing it to you. Soliloquy again. We've got some foliage on Soliloquy. Show Stealer, we've got Midnight Rendezvous. Show Stealer, we have a director's interpretation. It's various reds and pinks. It's not that vibrant, but check out the website for that one. Show stealer, we got a pigeon called Martha. Dramaturg, we have Reconditioned Punishment. Show stealer, we've got 911 Butterfly. It's got the best backstory in the world. If you're ever at a show, ask us, what does 911 Butterfly mean? Show stealer, we've got Drama Queen. Spotlight, we've got Rusted. Soliloquy, we've got Dippin' Sauce. Spotlight, we've got some more Metamorphosis. And last but not least, on Showcase, we've got some blue ink. So this is a newer blue colorway for us. And I think it looks just like the blue of a blue ballpoint pen. So, blue ink. So, that's everything that's been updated to the shop this week. We're still updating some show inventory that we still have, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. Best way to follow us is to follow us on Instagram as Leading Men Fiber Arts and to like our Facebook page for Leading Men Fiber Arts. Those are the best two ways to keep up on updates. If you're not also part of our Leading Men Fiber Arts Ravelry group, please come on over and join. I do open up a shop update thread for every month, so I used to do a different thread for every single update, and that just got to be a bit ridiculous, so I just kind of update new pictures and add them to that thread for that month. So that's a good way to also follow as well. So if you're interested, you could always check out the shop at leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com. If you are interested in seeing LMFA's yarn in your local yarn store, please pass along our name and information to them. They can check out our website. There is a wholesale order tab at the top of the website where it gives more information about how they can contact us and place a wholesale order. You can also place custom orders. There's a tab for custom orders. So if you see something you like but not on the right base or in the quantity that you want, you can always custom order it. I do want to tell you that there is a new online shop that is carrying Leading Men Fiber Arts. So if you are in or around the Denmark area, there is a new website called yarnlovers.de, I believe. Now I'm questioning that. But they are... yarnlovers.dk, sorry. And they have some beautiful photography. I'm super jealous of the photographs they've taken of our yarn. So they did, I know they've just opened in the past week or two. They've been seeing a lot of success in the online store, and they're going to be ordering some more yarn of ours. So if you are in Denmark and you're like, I love your yarn, but I don't want to pay postage from the US to the Denmark area, they're wholesale ordering, so they're buying it, in bulk, and you don't have to pay as much for shipping because you're buying it local to you. So you can definitely check out yarnlovers.dk. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for this week. Until next week, when Callie hopefully will be joining me once again, I hope you knit something dramatic.